Hello, it's me, Hypnos. I'm doing Cringetober this year. I am specifically doing the original 2023 Cringetober prompts because I looked at the 2025 one and I didn't like the prompts as much as the original. I was also inspired by Kelsey Animated's first year of Cringetober, and I thought I would enjoy the challenge as well. Without further ado, day 1 of Cringetober. The prompt is Heterochromia. Today's prompt features one of my OCs, Erebus. I like Erebus a lot. I like drawing him because he has vitiligo. He has like a human mom and then like a devil father, so his like face is all split and stuff. And that's why he has heterochromia, and that's why I wanted to draw him for today's prompt. And I also wanted to find a reference that featured the eyes as like one of the focal point, and I found this really good one on Pinterest, and it looks really cool, and I like how the final product came out. But before you get to see that, I'm going to talk about Erebus's lore, and I'm going to try and not sound freaking insane while I say this. The OC brain rot runs hard with all of my OCs, so like I'm trying my best. I want to not make it sound confusing, and this is the best way I could do it. Like, I'm trying to explain it, and I've been building up on this lore for like the past 2 years, so like calm down, guys. Into the Erebus lore. In order to understand fully of like the environment he's raised in and what happens to him, we have to learn a little bit about his parents. So I'm going to give this extremely summarized version of their story. So there's like this elf woman, right? And her name's Lyra, and she's already a little crazy because she like wants everything to kind of be perfect. She gets this deal with the devil, which the devil's his name is Elzor, and I love him and I talk about him often, but this video isn't about him. So she makes this deal with Elzor to be able to make this like perfect civilization she has in mind. And over time, as she talks to Elzor, she loses a sense of identity due to the deal and the influence of Elzor. She becomes even more psycho than before and more evil. So now that she's like losing her humanity bit by bit, Elzor makes this master plan to be able to get this perfect civilization that she wants. So part of this master plan, she's like disguising herself as this other goddess, and she's disguising herself as the goddess Astari, which she is the goddess of like good. She's the ruler of the 7 heavens, right? She's good and stuff. Lyra, her whole role is to be able to pretend that she's like the reincarnated version of this goddess when she really isn't, but that's all part of the plan. So she's kind of like this glorified, like amped up version of the actual real Astari. She has this whole thing with the number 7, and it's everywhere. The number 7 everywhere. Part of this plan is that she must have 7 daughters because it's going to start out as this perfect civilization, and then the rest of the world should be perfect too, shouldn't it? So she needs all these daughters to be able to rule the rest of the world because she's only one woman, you know? She has a lot on her shoulders. So she has these 7 daughters. There's the 2 oldest that are twins. They're important, is Noja and Noata, and I'll get back to it later. And so throughout doing this master plan and building the civilization, Lyra grows closer with Elzor over time, and they become really good friends, which leads to the birth of Erebus. Erebus is the surprise baby result of this, and Lyra she doesn't need this 8th child. So she's like, okay, I guess I'll train him like the rest of my daughters. So she tries to train Erebus to become a leader, and he kind of sucks at it, and he's not good at it. So he like begins to grow up a little bit. He's the youngest child out of all of her children because he was a surprise, right? So the civilization is created, and then, you know, Noja and Nota, the 2 eldest sisters. Nota wants to start a revolt against her mother because, you know, Lyra's evil and stuff. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna kill my mother. And then Lyra's like, nuh-uh, I'm gonna kill you first. And that's what she does. And then Noja becomes emo because her twin sister's dead, and then Erebus has to take Noata's place in the Vex district. where she ruled, but he, like I said before, he's bad at it, and he's like a freaking child, so he's even worse at it because he like hasn't lived long enough to understand and have all these leadership qualities that his mother expects of him. So he's like under this whole pressure of growing up and expecting more of him than he actually has. So he has like a ton of trauma from this and his mom. And then he basically is leader for like 5 seconds, and then his mom shuts it down, and she's like, so as queen, I'm going to just basically rule over this district because you suck at this. So she's ruling that specific district for a hot minute. And then our main characters show up, the party members of Mean Stand campaign. One of these party members is named Sam, and he is in this whole mess with Lyra, who is a starry, technically. She basically makes Sam the new leader of the Vex district, and each leader has their own little assistant, and Sam's assistant is Icarus, who is Erebus. He has a fake name that he goes by because Lyra doesn't want anybody to know that Erebus exists because, first of all, he's a screw-up, that he's a surprise, and then second of all, that he's failed so hard that he's not worthy of being recognized in the public's eye or anything like that. So he's basically Sam's assistant. Erebus is helping his replacement, and it's sad. But he doesn't actually care that much. He's just sad and depressed. But he has a good relationship with his dad, who is the devil. After all this like campaign stuff ends with the main characters, he has his own life, and that's what I'm going to talk about in detail now, because that's like the important part of his story. So after all of that happens, he moves into hell with his dad, and because he has a good relationship with his dad, even though his dad wasn't like around all the time, but whenever he wasn't like forcing Erebus to be somebody that he wasn't, or forcing him to be extremely successful like his mom did. So he just had a better relationship with his father as this kind of like demigod, because his father Elzor is a god. He's a god. Elzor is a god. He's also the devil. So that makes Erebus a demigod. So he moves in with his dad, and he gets really good at this whole politics thing in hell, because hell's whole thing is politics because they're evil and stuff. And then he like grows in power through becoming like governor of these different like really big cities and stuff. He wants to get more powerful in hell, so he murders his ex-stepmom. I'm not going to go into it. And he becomes the archdevil of the 6th layer of hell, because there's 9 layers of hell. He's slaying the day away once he becomes the archdevil of the 6th layer of hell, and he's doing a really good job. And then there's like this gala event that happens where like all the gods and stuff get together, and they're all cool. And so Elzor brings Erebus along to this cool gala, and this is where Erebus meets Helmi, who is like his like princess magical lady that he has a fat crush on. And Helmi, she's the daughter of Atlas the sea god and Gaola the goddess of love. He's like wooga as soon as he sees Helmi. So he meets Helmi, he really clicks with her, and they get along, and they become like friends, and they hang out in Erebus, his like cool garden, and they just bond together, and then they begin to become partners and have a relationship. And Elzor, he's chill with this. He's like, okay, my son has a girlfriend, that's cool. Elzor does not care. Atlas, who is Helmi's dad, she's like, what's my daughter doing with this stinky little devil? He's going to use her for no good shenanigans, corrupt her, and then steal her away from me. That's what he thinks. So he kind of like hates Erebus, and so Erebus, he's like scared of Atlas and stuff like that. And Helmi's like, don't worry about it, he's just my dad. Helmi she lives in the upper planes with her parents still in this like heavenly area, and Erebus lives in freaking hell. So like they have this sort of like long distance relationship thing happening, so they can't like see each other all the time, and they like caught on the phone and stuff. The ye old phone. And they're all silly and stuff. They just like are together for a while, and they really click. Erebus proposes. He proposes. He's like, Wookie, do you wanna be with me? And Helmi's like, I do, but I can't. And he's like, what? And so they like don't end up together in the end, and they kind of break it off after that. And then Erebus is really sad, and he's really depressed, and he's going into his like crash out era, like really resembling his dad, which isn't a good thing, because Elzor has like so much relationship drama, it should be a crime. He's becoming like depressed and he misses his Pookie, and it's like all he can think about. It's really obsessive and really bad, and he needs to get over it. But really later, there's like this whole gala thing all happens all over again. Helmi approaches him, and then she's like, actually, do you want to be friends again? And then Erebus is like, really? Sure. And then she's like, yippee! So they become friends again, and they end up being lovers all over again. And that's where I'm going to leave it, because I want to make a whole video just about them, and I've already summarized this really hardcore. And I want it to be more than just this Cringetober speed paint to talk about them, and it's already confusing, and I'm sorry if I sounded like I was rambling. They're really awesome, and I love Erebus, and he's a cool character. That's it for Cringetober Day 1!